Okay, well students, today we are going to see another experiment. There is a determination of chemical oxygen demand of a given wastewater sample. So, today we are going to see chemical oxygen demand. This is short form. You might have heard about COD or chemical oxygen demand. This is defined as the total amount of oxygen required to oxidize the entire impurities present in the wastewater. 1 liter of wastewater sample. Okay, we have got one more term called as biological oxygen demand or BOD. BOD is defined as the amount of oxygen required to oxidize the biological impurities present in 1 liter of water. So, what's the main difference between these two? Here I am telling you the entire impurities. There are many biological impurities, or we can say we can call this organic impurities here. So, we are going to measure the organic impurities present in the case of BOD, and in the case of COD we are going to measure both organic plus inorganic impurities. Okay, clear? So in this case we can see BOD is like, as the name says, the biological oxygen demand. That means it's we are going to measure the impurities which are biologically decomposable or which can undergo decomposition by itself. Whereas in this case we are taking care of both organic and inorganic impurities. That means both biologically oxidizable and non-biologically oxidizable. That means chemically oxidizable complete impurities we are going to measure in the case of COD. So when I say COD is actually a measure of impurities present in water, then why it is called oxygen demand? That's the next question. See, it's called oxygen demand because you know very well for the oxidation process what is required? Oxygen is required. Okay, for oxidation, oxygen is required. That means impurities are demanding oxygen for undergoing oxidation. So impurities undergo oxidation by absorbing oxygen. So usually what happens in the biological, in the naturally occurring decomposition, these impurities absorb oxygen from the dissolved oxygen. Okay, during chemical oxidation process, you need to provide a chemical. Okay, you need to put some oxidizing agent from where the oxygen will come out, and this impurities will absorb oxygen from that particular chemical. So we call it as a chemical oxygen demand. We are going to use an external chemical over here. So we are going to use an external chemical or external oxidizing agent. So most common oxidizing agent which I am going to use is K2Cr2O7, whereas in biological oxygen demand, here this impurities will absorb the dissolved oxygen present in water bodies. That's why when the amount of impurities increases, you know very well, the amount of oxygen decreases. That's why we see in newspapers like fishes die in lakes and ponds. That's because the amount of oxygen comes down as the impurities increases. Because impurities are demanding more and more oxygen to undergo oxidation. Okay, so in today's experiment we will purely stick to COD, that is the chemical oxygen demand. Okay, we purely stick to COD, that is chemical oxygen demand, and today we are going to do in the lab how we are going to find out the total impurities present. Okay, so this is done by a titration process, by volumetric titration process, and this titration process has got like two different titrations. I will explain to you those two titrations. Actually we want to do there are two parts actually. One is the preparation part. We are going to prepare FAS solution as a standard solution. Okay, so standard FAS is prepared, as you know, FAS is something called as the ferrous ammonium sulfate or the Mohs salt, which is prepared by taking a known amount of FAS and dissolve it in first, you need to add sulfuric acid to this. The sulfuric acid is added to FAS solution by preparation because this will help in preventing hydrolysis of FAS. Okay, so then you need to dilute this to 250 cc by using DI water. Clear? So once you prepare it, you keep it ready. This you take it in a burette. So FAS is taken in burette, right? Okay, the first part is the first part. First part is the preparation of FAS. You are preparing FAS in DI water in the presence of sulfuric acid. The sulfuric acid is purely to prevent hydrolysis of FAS, otherwise FAS will become a dirty yellow color precipitate. Now transfer this to a burette and keep titration part. So that here actually we are going to do two types of titrations. One is blank titration, the other one is back titration. There are two titrations. So first I explain back titration. Back titration is nothing but you are providing wastewater. Okay, so don't worry about wastewater, we get very clean wastewater. We just take out 25 cc of wastewater. Okay, take out 25 cc of wastewater. Now you need to add 5 cc of, actually we are adding silver sulfate and mercury sulfate. Okay, silver sulfate and mercury sulfate has to add it first. But this we are not doing in this action procedure. Action procedure has got this one, but for doing in the lab we are not doing it. The silver sulfate is added in order to break down all the complex impurities to a simple molecule. So, silver sulfate will help in breaking down the complex impurities, whereas mercuric sulfate, so whenever silver is added, it can precipitate as silver chloride. So, once the precipitate comes and interferes with the reaction, so in order to stop this precipitation, you need to add mercuric sulfate. So, mercuric sulfate is actually an agent which will help in preventing this kind of precipitation. So just remember these two terms. In fact, I am not going to write it here because I am not going to add these two because all of the things will be done and given to you. Okay. So just take the wastewater which is given to you. It's already been treated like this. Then you need to add sulfuric acid, H2SO4. This 10 cc of sulfuric acid, sulfuric acid is added. Then you need to add just 5 cc of K2Cr2O7 from the beverage. Okay, this has to be very carefully you need to add because K2Cr2O7 is going to act as an oxidizing agent over here. So you need to add exactly 5 cc of K2Cr2O7. Clear? Now once after completing up to this one, you need to do the titration against FAS, which is kept in the beverage. Okay, listen carefully here. Here you are adding wastewater. To this sulfuric acid is present, which is acting as acidic medium for the oxidation to take place, and you are adding K2Cr2O7. So what happens when you add K2Cr2O7? You know very well K2Cr2O7 is an oxidizing agent. It's an oxidizing agent. Okay. So this oxidizing agent will oxidize all the impurities present in your waste. And I am adding in 5 cc of K2Cr2O7. That means out of 5 cc, some amount will be utilized to oxidize waste. So some amount will remain as such. And here we are going to actually do the titration of the leftover K2Cr2O7. So whatever is left over, so some amount will be reacted to your wastewater and some amount will be left over. So this leftover K2Cr2O7 gets reacted with FAS. Clear? Yeah. So actually what is the COD? COD is the amount of impurities present, right? But the amount of impurities present is actually the amount of dichromate which is reacting with your waste. But that information you are not getting over here. You get the information what is left over K2Cr2O7 which is not required for us. Okay. So how to find out the amount of dichromate which is actually reacting with this wastewater can be found by one more titration called as back titration. So in the back titration, what we do is we don't take wastewater. We want to get just 25 cc of pure DI water we can take. Take pure DI water, okay, and just add this sulfuric acid, and you need to add exactly same 5 cc of K2Cr2O7 and do the titration against FAS. So we are doing first the blank titration where we take wastewater and dichromate. So we was to undergo oxidation, but in this case you don't take wastewater, instead you can take DI water, pure DI water you can take and add sulfuric acid to titration. So in this, what's the main difference here? In this case, the leftover dichromate reacts with FAS, but in this case, entire dichromate, because dichromate is not reacting with waste, there is no waste material over here. So entire 5 cc dichromate will combine with your FAS. Clear? So here, if you are getting the value as titration value is V1, and here you get as V2, V2 minus V1 will give you the amount of dichromate or the volume of dichromate which got reacted to the waste reacted with the waste which is equivalent to, you can say, C. Okay, so you get the titration volume, that is V2 minus V1, which got reacted with the waste. Clear? That's about the titration. Now coming to another important point, what kind of reaction is taking place, I will tell you here. So I think it's clear that back titration I explained to you. I think it's clear. Now I will pass on to the next important point. What kind of reaction is taking place? So here in FAS, what is done? Fe2 plus is present. And the dichromate, we know this C6 plus is present. Okay. When these two combine together in the presence of H plus, we know it becomes Fe3 plus plus Cr3 plus. This is a redox titration. So this complete experiment is based on redox titration. Okay. During this titration, we can use ferroin as the indicator, which is actually phenanthrone 110 Fe2 plus salt. Okay, phenanthrone 110 Fe2 plus. That means this has got Fe2 plus, and this has got nice deep red color. It's a nice deep red colored indicator. When you put this indicator into the conical flask, what happens? There we have got very strong oxidizing agent like K2Cr2O7 in the presence of sulfuric acid. So this red color gets converted to bluish green color. Okay, but at the end point again you get a red color. The reason for this change is initially we have got Fe2 plus. Okay, ferroin is Fe2 plus, that is red colored ferroin, which converts to Fe3 plus in the presence of oxidizing agent. It becomes bluish green. Again it changes to Fe2 plus, which is red in color. Okay, this is a color change of ferroin what we can observe in the case of this experiment. Is this clear for you? So ferroin is the indicator used here, which gives this kind of color change. And this is the reaction taking place. Okay, now I will show you how to do the experiment, and then we will get back for the calculation part. So dear students, now we will see how to do the experiment of COD. Okay, for COD, as I told you, first is the preparation of standard FAS solution. So to prepare standard FAS solution, I have taken here a known weight of FAS in this weighing bottle. I have taken the weight of this bottle plus the sample. Now we are going to transfer this and we are going to prepare FAS solution. Okay, so now I will transfer it to this funnel. Okay, completely transferred. Now we got this empty bottle. Empty bottle weight will be taken now. This difference in the weight will get you the weight of FAS. So that this is how to prepare the standard solution of FAS. So now we are preparing a little of water, dissolve it, and then we are adding sulfuric. This is sulfuric acid. We are going to add sulfuric acid. 1 teaspoon of sulfuric acid. This sulfuric acid is added to FAS in order to prevent hydrolysis. If you don't add sulfuric acid, we can see a dirty yellow precipitate of FAS. Okay, ferric hydroxide will be formed. To avoid that dirty yellow precipitate, we are adding here sulfuric acid. Now transfer completely from this funnel, and we are preparing FAS solution. Mix, dissolve completely. Make sure this is dissolved completely. You can see here there is no crystals now. Now you can add the remaining water. You need to add water up to the mark. Just look for the lower meniscus. Yeah, towards the end you need to add some to urine. Okay. See, now we can see here we added water up to this mark. I have not put up to this end mark. Okay, so remaining last few drops we can add from the urine. And look for the lower meniscus. it has come to the lower meniscus. You can see here, now I added up to the lower meniscus. Now you can put the lid and you need to mix completely, dissolve completely, so that the entire solution has the same concentration. You can do it like this once or twice or thrice. Now our standard solution is ready. Now always, as we know, standard solution has to go to the burette. So I am going to take this in the burette. So burette has to be first rinsed, okay, with DI water, and after that you need to rinse it with FAS solution before filling it up. Now we are rinsing it. After rinsing, you need to transfer FAS to the burette. After transfer to the burette up to 0 mark. Yeah. You need to fill even in the bottom part. Make sure this tail part of the burette is completely filled, and you need to fill up to 0 mark. Always look for the lower meniscus. So lower meniscus should be on the 0 mark. Now I am keeping this FAS ready. This is the first part of the experiment is done. Now coming to COD part. For that, first I told you there are two titration. One is back and one is blank titration. First I will show you the back titration. For back titration, as we know, we have to take 25 cc of the wastewater. This is our wastewater sample. Okay, take out 25 cc of wastewater sample, use a pipette. This is all already washed and rinsed with wastewater. Now we are directly transferring 25 cc, okay, to the conical flask. After transferring, as I told you, you need to completely transfer first. Then second thing is you need to add sulfuric acid. 1 teaspoon of sulfuric acid. See, here we are adding again sulfuric acid in order to give acidic medium so that your potassium dichromate can act as an oxidizing agent. To the standard flask, we add sulfuric acid to prevent hydrolysis. Okay, now we are adding sulfuric acid. Now you need to add 5 cc of standard potassium dichromate, which I had kept in the burette here. So exactly 5 cc, we need to keep the finger here exactly. Now I have taken up to 0. Now keep exactly 5 cc and transfer 5 cc of K2Cr2O7 into this conical flask. So as K2Cr2O7 is a strong oxidizing agent, this oxidation of the waste particle takes place. So, now this is, as you know, this is back titration. We have transferred 25 cc of wastewater, 1 test tube of sulfuric acid, exactly 5 cc of K2Cr2O7. Now we are going to start the titration. Titration against FAS, which is taken in the burette. This was the color of our indicator. Okay, now the indicator color has changed to green color. This is pure ferro indicator. Ferro indicator means it's phenanthroline 110 Fe2 plus complex. Till you get back this red color, you need to do the titration. Now you can see slowly the green color is disappearing, brown color is trying to appear. It has become light brown color. Till it becomes nice bright red color, you can continue the titration. Now I think this is the end point. You can see this is almost the color of our indicator. Okay, so this is our end point for the back titration as well as blank titration. And this is a red color appearance because Fe2 plus is coming back. Now there is no more K2Cr2O7 in the solution. Now this is about the back titration. Now we will go for the blank titration. For the blank titration, you don't have to add wastewater. So before we add wastewater, now we don't have to add wastewater. Instead of wastewater, we can add a DI water, or if you don't add, also not a problem, because DI water anyway is not going to react with KCl2O7. So remaining everything has to be added, that is 1 test tube of sulfuric acid, then exactly 5 cc of K2Cr2O7, and of course our indicator, that is ferrol indicator. Now we will transfer exactly 5 cc of K2Cr2O7. Now we can see, this is the ferrol indicate. We can see the color of ferrol indicate is red color. Now it is changed to, see, it has completely changed to green color. Okay. Now we will fill the burette again. To always we try to do the titrations with the burette reading to 0. This to avoid any kind of errors. Now we have filled up to 0. Now we can see how we are going to do the blank titration. So same way, like similar way last time, you do the continuous titration till you get the end point. Slowly the brown color is appearing now. Till it becomes bright red. We will continue. So you can see here, now the bright red has come. Now previously I showed you it as 10.2 was the titration value. This time you can see it is 24.2 is the titration value. That means the blank titration has consumed only less amount of FAS solution, whereas the blank titration it has consumed more amount of FAS solution. Okay, before it was 10.2 was the titration value, now it is 24.2 is the titration value. And now we will see the calculation, what you have to do and what is the reason behind this, we will see now. So we are seeing both back titration as well as blank titration. Back titration we got the value as 10 cc as our end point, and blank titration we got 24.2. So can you say why it is more in the case of blank titration? The reason is, in this case of back titration, we have titrated less amount of K2Cr. That means the leftover K2Cr2O7 has been titrated. Whereas in this case, there was no wastewater, so the entire 5 cc has been. That's why the value is more here. Right? Now, to find out the amount of dichromate which has reacted with our waste, which is equivalent to COD, we need to take V2 minus V1, which is equal to 24.2 minus 10 cc will come to 12.2. This is the amount of FAS solution which is required to, which was taken to neutralize or to completely oxidize K2Cr2O7, which is equivalent to the amount of the COD. Okay, this is the first calculation. Once we know this V equivalence, now we will go for our calculation part. As we know, first is the molarity calculation. In the molarity calculation, you know molarity of FAS we need to calculate. Okay, sorry, it's the normality calculation of FAS. So normality of FAS is calculated as equal to weight of FAS. So we have taken almost 4 into 4 to 50 cc entry point, so into 4 multiplied by 4 divided by the equal weight of FAS, which is equal to 392. So this you will get the normality of FAS here. Okay, whichever weight you are taking here, just take the weight of just put the weight of FAS here, multiply with 4 because you are prepared to 50 cc class, and 392 is the equal weight of FAS. So when you do this one, you will get the normality of FAS. Okay. Once you get the normality of FAS, you can go for the calculation of COD, which is done by N1V1 is equal to N2V2 calculation we can do. Right. So we can take N1V1 is that of the wastewater and entity to be detected as that of FAS solution here. So normality of wastewater is unknown to us. This is equal to FAS. Normality you will get it over here. Okay, this is known to us. Let it be X here or Y here. Okay, so I am taking as Y. Into what is V of FAS? V of FAS is nothing but it's the volume difference. Okay, that is V2 minus V1. This is the amount of FAS which is required to completely convert K to Cr to S1. So we should take here V2 minus V1 is 12.2. We do 12.2 upon what is the volume of wastewater? We have taken 25 cc of wastewater. So you just divide by 25. You will get the normality of wastewater. Now if you want to find out how much waste was present in per liter of your solution, that is weight per liter if you do. So the same thing, whatever you are getting over here, we need to multiply this with the equivalent weight. So here we are talking in terms of equivalence of oxygen. So I am going to multiply this with 8 here because 8 is the equivalent weight of oxygen. Okay. So if you put it in terms of 8, you will get this in terms of grams per liter in terms of oxygen. Okay. Now usually what happens, COD we express in terms of ppm of oxygen. So in order to convert this in terms of ppm, you should know grams per liter. The 1 ppm is equal to 1 milligram per liter. So to convert this grams per liter into ppm or into milligram per liter, you just multiply with 1000. So whatever value you are getting over here, suppose if your answer is equal to Z value, this Z you just multiply with 1000, you will get that much ppm of oxygen, and this is the amount of COD, and this is how we calculate the amount of COD. So finally you are going to calculate the amount of COD in terms of ppm of oxygen. Because why oxygen? Because as I told you, COD impurities demand oxygen, and you calculate in the terms of number of oxygen being utilized. So here we can say this much amount of oxygen has been utilized. This is the calculation part of COD. Yeah, thank you.